Chat. Zerg's so ahead already. Unfair map. I wouldn't say that. I would say that again, at the time creator, he had options to try to punish that goal base from Solar, but yeah, offset options. It was an unfortunate turnout there when it comes to the build of choice from creator. But here we go. We're diving into our series, and if you are in the chat, predictions are open. Predictions are open. Place your bets for how you believe this series will unfold and who will face off against Solar in the grand finals. Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat, as I have to post as well. Predictions open. Predictions are open. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Ghost River, we have our South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss representing. The Red Protoss representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Blue Terran player representing Team Liquid. It is Clem. Land of France. Let's go. Now we're loading into Ghost River for the first time tonight. For the very first time. I am ready. I'm excited. I'm good to go. Gibbs, baby, Gibbs. Let's go. Ghost River, of course, being the shorter rush distance by map in the map pool. Very short, very aggressive map available here. And we'll see how this does, or where this does take us. Again, Classic is more than one willing to embrace a more aggressive nature of PvT. So my eyes are on Classic. This wouldn't be the map for it, but Classic, we've also seen him many times go from a Stargate opener into a carrier rush, for example, but that's very map dependent. It's very map dependent. Maps like Side Delta, maps like Alkyone, maps like Post Tooth as well. On a larger map, that's kind of what is going to be in the back of our minds. On a smaller map, less so. As it's going to be a double gas opening here by Clem, going for that factory. It's going to be a faster factory. We do have a reactor on the way here by Clem. CC on the high ground. Reaper moves out. And we'll see what we can get done. Ooh, as we have our Tech of Choice, it's going to be the Stargate here by Classic. Okay. You have my attention. A little bit risky here just because you are vulnerable to early pushes with the Stargate opener. And early pushes are going to be impacted quite a bit by this map. Reaper comes in, we do scout the tech, we scout the Stargate. Big moment here by Clem. Won't escape with the Reaper, but he is aware of the potential for either Phoenix or Oracle. And as a result, we respond with Cyclones. Marines are on the way, Cyclones are on the way as well. I'm curious if we're going to be trying to be aggressive and rally across the map with this. We have potential. We do have potential here. It is going to be a Phoenix opener by Classic. State the shield battery on the way as well. Very important. That shield battery is in production. Again, I'm brought back to... It wasn't game 1 against Nightmare, but it was a game against Jeshi. Game 2 against Jeshi. But to be fair, even game 1 against Nightmare, where Clem was able to just snowball out of control with his earlier game aggression. Here we go. We are going for our drop. It's going to be Marines and the Widowmine across the map. Cyclone for now. Going to be chilling back at home. Oh, never mind. We're going to be rallying. Okay. Yeah, we have Vikings and more Cyclones. You can see the rally of the factory and the starport. So this is the same response that we saw against Jeshi. Just everything is being sent across the map. And the goal here is to break Classic. We do catch a Marine. Cyclone is spotted. We're going for the pylon. Thankfully, we have a backup pylon behind this. Warp Gate will finish. Adepts are coming in the mine shot. Ooh, big mine shot here on the Adepts. One Adept does go down. We're going for the pylon. Pylon will fall. That does. Oh, supply block Classic as well. He sucks supply block. He can't warp in. Reinforcements are on the way. You can see Classic trying to catch those reinforcements. We do dive on top of the Viking, but the Cyclone puts in a lot of work. Oh, Phoenix goes down. Classic's in trouble. Classic is in quite a bit of trouble right now. Finally breaking free from that supply block. Immortals on the way. Gateway's under fire. Try to come in from behind. Good response here by Clem. Does meet up with those Phoenixes. We dive on in. Overcharge is popped. With the help of the overcharge, we can hold. Ooh, and the Phoenix barely does survive. Very clutch defense there by Classic. Barely does hold, doesn't lose any units. The army rotates back around. And back at home, third CC's on the way. Clem, he is transitioning out of this. He's trying to. We do catch the Lib. Very nicely done. Liberator goes down. Ooh, Viking as well. And it looks like Classic should be able to clean this up. I mean, to say that is bleeding out another Stalker. Oof. Another Stalker falls. We come in from behind. We get the lock on, and yeah, we're bleeding out a little bit too much here. We pick up another 2 Stalkers. Classic is hurting. Behind this, working towards Colossus production. Line shot going up. Delays the third. Behind this, Clem is getting up into his own 3cc setup. Own 3cc. And our Nexus is also on the way, but Clem, he has the economic lead. He has the economic advantage. While the third Nexus is still in production for Classic, the Orbital is already done for Clem. We're getting to more Vikings. Tank production as well. Just fortifying ourselves here on our 3-way setup. And pushing into this is not going to be easy. Oh, but there's no turret, by the way. Okay, Clem cutting some corners. He gets punished. 5, 6 SCVs go down. Good pickups here by Classic. At the same time, he goes for the tank. The tank is left alone. Clem is getting pulled apart. Ay, ay, ay. Caught out of position. Tank goes down. SCVs go down. Now, we can't commit to a fight. Sim isn't done, though. We're diving in. Yeah, the tank will fall. Ooh, but we trade out a lot of Phoenixes. The Vikings, they just go ham here. Oh, my God. And they reset the Phoenix count, bringing it down to 1. And Classic does have to retreat. It was a good push by Classic, and the Colossus does arrive. With the help of the Colossus, Classic could keep pushing, but he falls back for now. He respects the ramp, respects the high ground. You can see here the trades: 6 Stalkers, 4 Phoenixes for 8 SCVs, 2 tanks, Vikings, 4 Vikings even. I would say that was a better trade for Classic, just because he was able to recover economically and also hinder the tank count. The tank count, which is still building up, by the way, so that will kind of soften the blow or soften the attack of Clem. So some pretty necessary damage there as Classic is taking a 4th. But Clem is still being active, this time with Stim. Meanwhile, we spoke about Classic liking to rush into carriers. There it is, Fleet Beacon and Stargate. I didn't think he would on a small map like Ghost River, but given the game state, I feel like it makes sense. And specifically on Ghost River, you can cut the map in half. Because of all these points of elevation, because of all these ramps, there are some really nice defensive positions. But we're not there yet, as Clem is pushing with everything he has. He's got 2 tanks. 2 tanks, 4 Vikings, good amount of IO. Tanks are sieging, we're not able to punish. Do we have a Twilight Council upgrade? We do not. No charge. We're working towards Tempest. We have to. It's going to be Tempest first, not Carrier. Clem rotating around towards that 4th. Shield batteries up and running. The tanks! We do catch a tank. Good pickup. But the probes are caught out instead. And the other tank does siege. Big volley's going to be going off. The Vikings going ham as well. We do lift the tank for a moment, but only for a moment. As with the help of this overcharge, which is within range, we barely bring down that tank. Again, really nice positioning with the shield battery. The overcharge came in clutch. Tempests have arrived just in time. And there's no way to dive on those Tempests. Oof. The tank is going to be saved, but Classic holds. And Classic now is working towards a superior army, with carriers now on the way. Clem, he knows he's on a timer. He knows he's got to go now, before the Sky just gets out of hand. But it might be too late. Yeah, there we go. We have Starports on the way. We have more Raxes on the way. Ghost Academy, 4CC soon to be landed. Clem, it looks like he's recognized that he cannot kill Classic. Not anymore. And now Classic has momentum. Tank is going to be saved. Oof, oh my god. That was close. The tank is saved. We get back home. 5th base on the way for Classic. Now, Classic still doesn't have a mobile army. Like, he still has, like, no charge, no blink, for example. No mothership. But we're getting there. We are working towards that. Prism is coming in behind this, working towards that natural. Yeah, just going to be some Adeptoras. We're going to get some SCVs. Is going to get some SCVs with the Prism. Ooh, is going to go down. That was not worth it for Classic. Prism does fall. Clem holds. Getting another CC. Meanwhile, Classic is building up towards, we spoke about it earlier, but he's lacking a little of mobility. He's working towards that Blink, +2. Temple Archives is going to be for Storm and Archons. He's refining his army, building up towards the ideal. So Classic shouldn't be pushing until he gets all this up and running. Meanwhile, Clem is stabilizing. Clem is stabilizing, getting up to 5 bases. Sensor Tower is going to be thrown down. Turrets, we're going to be walling off with CCs. This is looking to shape up towards a longer game. A much longer game here. Unless something drastic happens early on. And Clem is being active. How many Vikings? We have 12 Vikings so far. +1 ship weapons just now begins. The army's been spotted. Blink is still not done. And the double drop comes in towards the south. We go for the Nexus. 5th base gonna be going down. A big pick off. At the same time, ooh, good EMP. Get a Colossus. Clem doing well. Clem doing well so far. Again, it's one of those things where both armies are close to max, true, but Classic's army is subpar. Like, we still need time for this army to really hit its stride. With +2, with Storm, with Blink. Meanwhile, Clem is able to take the center base as he bullies back the army, gets eyes on the southern Nexus as well. Still active with that double drop. Without the mothership as well, we have 1 less recall. Like, recalls are so important here in late game TVP. Just because the Terran army is more mobile, you need those recalls to keep up. Coming from behind. And from the front. Storm does turn away the army. Double drop comes in. He's going to be forced back, but oh, he's going to be lifting up into the main base. Another big storm. That carrier looking exposed though. Do we have another storm available? Big tank shots, big EMP. We get all the High Templar. No more storms left. We break through the main army at the same time. Triple drop into the main. And do we have a recall? We do not. We have a warp in. The beacon is going to be going down. Classic walking back. It is going to be brutal. And he might even lose +2. Sorry, +3 even. As the Cybercore is very low, we get into the main base. The entire army has to come back home. Ay, ay, ay. And we shut down one of the medevacs, and as all this is happening, we're pushing towards the front line, towards that forward base. This Nexus, it's going to go down. There's no saving it. Classic just unable to keep up. But now we have the mothership. Now we have 2 recalls. Now we can do a bit of a better job when it comes to drops catching us off guard. Carrier does fall. We can punish this. So big storm. Oh my god. It's not a bad moment here for Classic. Is still trying to take a 5th. Desperately. Well, back at home, Clem still committing to Mass Viking. How many Vikings do we have? We have 20 Vikings. That's a lot of Vikings, Pat. We activate the cloak, we're pushing in. Slow zone is thrown down. The Vikings get caught, by the way. But the Archons are getting a couple volleys here on the Vikings. The Vikings, they bring down one of the carriers, 2 carriers, and the mothership. Good pickoffs here, but the Viking count is being completely reset. Likewise, the ground army is being crippled as well. Classic, has he done it? He breaks through the army again, catching all his Vikings in slow zone. GG gets called, and in one swift move, Classic takes game one. Whew. GG, Poppy. GG. Oh my god, that was a brutal position for Clem. Again, the choke point was working against him. The Colossus, they were having their way with the bio army on the ground. On top of that, big slow zone on the Vikings. I love the Archon movement as well. And if you notice, we got the slow zone and then we saw the Archon specifically push on forward, got under the Vikings as well, got some extra damage done. Vikings got shut down and the ground army just could not keep up. GG, well played. Classic does take it. GG. But that was a very intense game, and again, Clem was doing well for himself. He was denying the 5th base over and over again. He was dropping, was picking off units. Like, Clem was doing well for himself when it came to harassing. But this is also the problem with Ghost River, is that it doesn't take long at all to push out across the map, and we saw Classic go for the throat. He was able to wedge himself in between the natural and the 3rd base. That was a brutal position for Clem to push into. And yeah, with that, we saw a brutal fight as well go in favor of Classic. And one fight is sometimes all it takes. GG, well played. We're getting into game number 2. Whew. We're getting into that second game. And can we force the ace match? Or will the semifinals be over here and now? As spawning in the top left-hand corner of side Delta, we have our South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Twisted Minds, leading the series 1-0. One game away from making it to the grand finals. It is Classic. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the French Terran player representing Team Liquid. Down in the series, he has to fight back here and now to force the ace match. It is Clem. Let's go. Needed a couple of Thors, maybe. You don't typically invest into Thors there. As I mentioned before, again, it was just being caught in a really rough position, or caught at a position. The SimCity was working against Clem, so his ground army of Ghosts and Marauder and Marine had a really hard time engaging and supporting the army. On top of that, as we pointed out, that was a brutal slow zone on all the Vikings. Literally every Viking was caught in the slow zone, and that allowed the Archons and of course the Stalkers to support the air army of Classic and just shut down every single Viking. Like, that was an insane fight. that was crazy. So that was maybe the best fight that Classic would hope for, to be honest, like in that position. Like, that was insane. Which can be frustrating as well, right? Because Clem played it out beautifully. Like, that entire game with his drop play, with his harassment, with his denial of bases. He was on 20 Vikings, if you remember, as well. He was doing well for himself, but again, Ghost River. Smooch. Ghost River can be brutal like that. And with that, we're settling into game number 2. Whew. And we'll see where this takes us here. As for now, we do have an eBay block on the low ground. It's going to be a nice disruption here for Clem. Going to be delaying the expansion for as long as he can. He gets a little bit of extra production there on that eBay. But you can see that Classic refuses to expand elsewhere. Gets out his Zealots. Is going to be quite a delayed expansion here, so a nice economic lead for Clem. Very nice lead. As now he does arrive with that Reaper. The Reaper shouldn't get much done as Zedept is about to pop out, but regardless, it's going to be able to keep tabs with Classic, as once again we see another Stargate opener. Now, I do like this a lot more this time. If you remember, I was worried about the Stargate opener in game 1 because it can be abused with early game aggression, and we saw that Clem did go for his early Viking Cyclone push, and he almost broke Classic. It was a very tense early game. What I will say though is it is much safer to do this on Site Delta. The map is much larger on Site Delta, longer rush distance. On top of that, this natural is much more secure. It is very defendable as well, so Classic is more free to go into Phoenixes, and he should have a much cleaner early game, outside of his delayed expansion, of course. Which shows us why it was important for Clem to get a delay on the expansion, just because he can't really apply as much pressure as he did in game 1. So he's going to do what he can while he can. Behind this, we're getting into our 1-1-1 setup. We have our Cyclone on the way. Reaper tries to dip in, and we do confirm the Stargate. So Vikings, Cyclones, we need as much anti-air as possible. For now, we have the medevac. Ooh, as Reaper does fall. The medevac can allow us to push, but we'll see what we can get done. I'm curious if we will. Yeah, double Cyclone push. Oh, never mind, moving out single Cyclone with the Marines. Okay, and we are moving out once again. This is very reminiscent of what we saw in Game 1. As we're rallying everything across the map. You can see the rallies here with the Marines, with the Cyclones, and with the Vikings. It is kind of the same opener here by Clem, 2 games in a row. But pushing up the high ground here is going to be difficult. We get the lock-on the shield battery. The lock-on is broken. Yeah, Depths shaving off some Marines. Good juggling here by Clem. Phoenixes have arrived. And if you remember last game, Clem, he was able to kill a pylon. He was able to supply block classic. He was able to catch Phoenixes. And this time, it's going to be a much cleaner defense here. We do lose a Zealot and an Adept, true. We shave off some gateway units. There is a Widowmine set up behind this. As Clem threatens the Cyber Core. Meanwhile, we can see Classic just amassing his army. Phoenix is trying to catch some reinforcements. More Cyclones are soon to arrive. And we did barely miss the Cyclone. That would have been a massive pickoff, by the way, to get that 3rd Cyclone. Classic was 1 second too late. Does catch Marines, and he does force Clem back. Again, looking at the trades here, it was 1 Phoenix, 1 Adept, 1 Zealot for 5 Marines and 1 Reaper. I mean, getting the Phoenix was actually really good. I apologize, I did miss the Phoenix going down. That was a good pickoff here from Clem. Meanwhile, Phoenix is a counterattack. There's nothing back at him to defend because Clem has been rallying everything across the map. So SCVs are going down. We delay the CC, we delay the production. But Clem is still pushing. And the Phoenixes, they recall back home. Oh my god. You know, we just have a Liberator in the natural, getting 3 probe kills. Good damage. Oh, the Phoenixes! Oh, Phoenixes are caught out as well. 2 Phoenixes for 1 live. That was not worth it. It was a rough trade for Classic. I mean, did kill a Liberator at least, but it was a costly trade. We can shut down the Cyclones. Finally! Clem has to race back home. Clem, he has to back off. Reinforcing with more Cyclones. But these are Immortals. Again, Clem hoping that maybe Classic overextends with these Phoenixes. Oh, hoping to catch one. Clem will pull back behind this. Classic getting his 3rd base. If you remember, Clem's own production setup was a little bit delayed by the SCV harass. Whew. And despite the tense start to the game, we're calming things down. We come into the main base. We pick up a couple more SCVs. 2 more workers go down. But Classic will settle into his 3rd, get into Colossus production. Meanwhile, Clem will settle into his own 3rd base as well. He will settle in. On the way, we have a good Viking count as well. Meanwhile, Classic once again trying to rush into Sky Toss. This is very iconic and very stylistic of Classic. He was able to get away with it in game number 1, but I worry here in game 2. I feel like this might be a little bit too greedy. Like, we have an insane Viking count right now. We're on 6 Vikings and 1 Lib, and it's not just to deal with the Phoenixes, but also with the Colossus, as that is what is keeping Classic alive here in this game. Phoenix does go down. We don't get the Lib this time. Stalker's doing what they can, but we have Tank Siege up behind this. We get a very aggressive push here by Clem. Is quite committed with this. Can a Classic hold? He's slowing down the push. The tanks are slowly leapfrogging forward. Big volley goes off on those Colossus. And you can see the Classic is buying time for his Tempest. Tempest, they're halfway done. But we need more time. Just need to hold on here. Tank volley is going to be going off. Pylon goes down. Ooh, Phoenix is getting very low. And Clem, he's pushing forward. He wants to go for the kill. Scanner reveals the Tempest. And now we're pushing in. Overcharge is popped. Tempest arrive. They focus down the Liberator. They try to at least... Oh, but big tank volleys go off on the Colossus. We go for the stim. Overcharge barely keeps the Colossus alive. We get the lib. And now we can go for the tanks. And Clem, he has to retreat. Oh, no! Oh, my God. Calm down. But Clem, he has to back off. He does save a lot of tanks, though. Does save the majority of these tanks. As he does retreat. Ooh, rallies into the army, though. Bleeding out a lot of units. We're still rallying, by the way. And we're not meant to be. Okay, there we go. We do notice we pull back. Clem consulting his forces. And again, the really important part here is that Clem does maintain a lot of his army. Like, that's a hefty tank count. We got a lot of Vikings as well. Second starport about to finish. Carrier production has commenced. Really, the end game here for Classic is to defend. His goal here is to try to defend, stabilize on 4 bases, and max out. Just like how he did in the previous game. The Observer does split the army. Tempest getting some hits in. You can see Classic, he wants those tanks. He gets one. Ooh, bleeds out some Phoenixes though, and we did overextend. And Classic, he's going to be losing everything here. Yeah, I spoke about it before. I was expecting Classic to be more defensive, but he's going to bleed out everything. Everything's going to be going down. We snowball out of control. Clem, he's going for the kill. Classic should not have been out on the map. Not like that. He's down to 1 Tempest. He lost every Immortal, every Colossus. And Classic plummets in supply. Ay. Just a little bit too greedy there. A little bit too overconfident. And now we're back to just defending. And Clem is about to max out. That's the big problem here. Is that Classic shouldn't be too far behind him. Classic should be, you know, down, what, 30 army supply maybe? But after that loss... Clem is pushing and he's going for the kill. Classic, he just had to calm down, Pop. He just had to calm down. Clem moving out towards that 4th. With a mass amount of tanks, with his Vikings. Without splash damage, I'm not too sure how Classic can defend against this. And Tempest does fall. Ooh, carrier as well. We're down to 3 carriers. Yeah, soon to be 2. Oof, soon to be 1 here as we're down to 2 carriers left. We stim on forward. We're a bit overstimmed. We focus down the Colossus. And we're going for the kill. Again, the initial defense was impressive by Classic, but it was afterwards where, again, he was maybe overconfident in himself. Maybe not respecting Clem's army enough. And he was punished hard for it. And we will break the 3rd. Nexus is going to go down, and we are looking for the ace match, Papi. GG gets called, and that's where we're headed. We tie things up 1-1. We're going to game 3. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, Classic was in a good position with his initial holds, but he got too greedy, he got too hungry, he got too thirsty. He just wanted those tanks in the middle of the map. He got baited out. Not too sure if it was... I don't think it was an intentional bait, but, you know, he did get caught out on the map. Clem pounced on the opportunity. Punished Classic. GG. Well played. We're going to game 3. We're going to game number 3 here, and it's going to be on... Ooh, a much larger map on Alcyone. Now, this is a good map to rush into Skytos on, if Classic wanted to, and... being aware of that, I'm sure Clem is, especially after what happened in Game 1 and Game 2, because Classic's been having the same kind of outlook on these games, Clem should be more aware of that himself, and I'm curious how Clem is going to be adjusting here. I'm curious how he adjusts and what kind of build he whips out here on Alcyone. We could even go for a greedier build, to be honest. Especially if we went for something... actually, I was going to say if we went for something like 3cc 3 racks, we should get away with it. And we're going to have a big stim timing. But, yeah, I'm not too sure if I like that against Stargate Phoenix. Which would be the build of choice for Classic. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see if it's going to be Phoenix Opener once again. And if Clem goes for, once again, Viking Cyclone Aggression or a different build attack. I'm ready. I'm excited. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Alkione, we have our South Korean Protoss player. The blue Protoss representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the French Terran player, the red Terran representing Team Liquid, tying up the series 1-1, 1 game away from advancing on to the grand finals. It is Clem. Whew, here we go. Again, Clem, he has been having a pretty interesting road to the finals here, or at least to the semifinals. Clem has been playing against nothing but Protoss, and he has beaten them, but each Protoss player so far has been able to take a game. You know, we've been forcing the ace match, except for Nightmare, to be fair, but Trap and Jeshi and now Classic as well have made Clem bleed. But what is important is that he has weathered the storm. He's been able to grow from those games, learn from them, adapt, overcome, and overpower his Protoss opponents. And he is primed to do it again. But we'll see how things open up here. As Classic, he does check the linear third base for a proxy, coming in for a scout. Is going to be slipping into that main base. And we can see Clem going for a double gas opener. Interesting. Interesting. So Clem is going for a faster factory here on Alkione. It is not going to be an economic build from our Terran player. And Classic does confirm. He does confirm. So more aggression on the table here from Clem. Classic behind this, setting up his Gate Cyber Expand. I imagined that we would be seeing another Stargate opener, but we'll see. Like Classic, even though he's opened up Phoenix every game so far, he is more than willing to embrace Blink Stalkers. It is a safer way to play, and based on how aggressive Clem has been this series, I wouldn't be opposed to a Blink Stalker opener. We'll see. We'll see how confident Classic is. But his confidence could be his downfall. I mean, we saw that in game 2. Did see that in game 2 as Reaper does arrive here at the natural, poking in, dancing with the Adept. Gonna be forced out. And it's gonna be a Robo Opener. Okay, a very safe build here by Classic. With a Robo Opener, you can get into fast Immortal production to defend against a 2-base all-in. You get into a fast Warp Prism and into fast Colossus production as well. In general, Robo Openers are considered to be very safe. The downside of a Robo Opener is without Phoenixes or Blink Stalkers, you can't really harass too well across the map as you otherwise would, and you can't shut down drop play as hard as you otherwise would either. Meanwhile, the Reaper did not see the tech yet. As we dip into the main. Don't see much there. We're going to have to rotate into natural. It looks like we go for the scout, we go for the dive, and we do get eyes on the Robo. Clem knows. And he even escapes. Impressive. Reaper will get away. Behind this, we're getting ready for our initial drop play. Cyclone moving out. Marines, Medevacs. This is the same build. I believe this is going to be the same build here. 3 games in a row. Oh, never mind. We're going for an add-on swap. Okay, so we're not going for additional Viking and Cyclone production. We're transitioning here into Tank Banshee. Oh boy. We saw this on Amphion, if you recall. It was on Amphion against Jeshi, if I remember correctly. So game 2 versus Jeshi. On Amphion, but here we go. Clem does arrive across the map, going for the pylon. Yeah, pylon is going to be shut down. The Stalkers, they can't quite engage. And this is going to be a nice pickoff here. Ooh, does supply block Classic. Behind this, Classic is at least already producing that Immortal. Backup pylons on the way. Cybercore under threat. The Classic should clean this up. He should force this back. Especially considering that this time Clem isn't reinforcing. Oh my god. That was terrifying. As we almost pull into the Widow Mine, forcing some friendly fire. 2 probes go down. And the drop is deflected. But behind this, we have the Banshee tank build here from Clem. Again, this has been very trendy amongst TV or Terran aficionados in TVP. We've seen a lot of tank Banshee play. Now, we can either pull this together and pull the boys and go for a 2-base all-in, or we can go for a split push and take a third. We can go for a tank push towards the natural. We can go for the Banshees harassing the main base. Things can get very chaotic very quickly. We'll see if Classic can keep up. Speaking of, we have our first Banshee here in the natural. Cloak is done. And we do manage to get a couple of workers. Cloak is now revealed as well. Observer on the way. And does get here in time. But remember, there is no blink. The Banshee should get away. Oof, barely does. At the same time, drop into the main base. 5 probes go down. We get 6, we get 7. Good target firing here by Clem. Does get 8 probe kills. Banshee still here in the corner of the map. But we did not coincide this with the tank push. Usually we would like bank up 2 Banshees, then go into the main, and then we go for the push right through the center. This is going to be a little bit more disjointed here by Clem, which means Classic has some time to recover here. We can see 1 Banshee in the main, 1 Banshee at the natural, and the main push right through the middle. And Classic did not have the Zonaga! Uh-oh. He did not have control of the Zonaga, does not spot the army. He's in position, thankfully. But here come those tanks. Quick reaction there out of Classic. Throws at the force field, buying some time. Shield battery is not done. Oh, and this may be too much. The tanks are slowly pushing forward. No shield battery, no overcharge without it. Not sure if we can hold charge and finish. But big tank volley is going off on the Immortal. Yeah, the Immortal goes down. The tanks, they stand strong, and it looks like Clem, he's doing it. He's breaking the 3rd base. Zealots have fallen. There's almost nothing left. There's 1 Archon remaining. And this Nexus, it's gonna go down. Meanwhile, in the main base, we're still defending against the Banshee. Gets 2 more probes. The Nexus will fall. And Classic is being broken. Again, if he was aware, or if he had controlled the Zonaga, he would have had time to throw down his shield battery to get his overcharge ready, and it could have been a different game. Could have. But alas, now we're stuck on 2 bases. And from here, we can chill. With throwing down more Raxes, we already have the 3rd base. We already have a 3rd CC behind this. We can't just expand. Banshee denies the 3rd of Classic. As we see Clem just fortifying this position as well. Okay, he's pulling back. And yeah, from here, Classic, I mean, he's gonna try to surround the army or even just bypass it. Oof. But the tanks are still here. Yeah, we're going for 1 last hurrah. Zealous from behind. A bit of a disjointed attack, though. The tanks are going to be going down. We do manage to clean up all of them. A good cleanup here by Classic, but we needed this earlier. We did need this earlier. Banshee does arrive here in the main. We get 6 more probe kills. Classic is down 23 probes. Ay, ay, ay. And from here, Clem just needs to calm things down, get into his 3rd base, get into his production, work towards his stim timing. Stim is about to finish with combat shields, by the way, and then we can push. And then I'm not too sure if we can be stopped. Now, is there a world where maybe Classic can defend? I mean, he's got charge, doesn't have storm, doesn't have any robo production, no bay production, I mean. There's splash damage. There's a chance if he can set up maybe a Zealot run by and force the army back and buy time. Like, it's gonna be all about buying time here. Somehow, some way. To keep Clem busy, or maybe if Clem is a little bit too passive, even then I think it's okay for Clem to take a 4th, as he's now taking a 4th. But I think it's okay for him to even focus on maxing out first. I don't think there's too much really threatening him. There's no pressure, there's no onus here for Clem to end the game. There's no reason for risk things. There's reason to risk things here as the charge will take collapse on the army. Zealot's gonna be shaved off. Classic, he's committed. It's all or nothing for Classic. He knows he cannot win a longer game. But with this tank line, with the SimCity, with the Liberation Zones as well, yeah, we can't push it. It's not gonna happen. It's damned if you do and damned if you don't. Like, Classic can't break this, but also knows that he needs to get something done. Well, big EMP. You don't quite catch the Prism. Will escape. Storm is halfway done. Storm will help. Definitely. Storm is, if we can buy time, if we can even get some really good connections with the Storm, then maybe. Clem is moving out. His move out is spotted, he scans the base, sees that there is no third, or at least no fourth. And Clem has maxed. Now is the time. Scanning its eyes on the armies, Clem rotating towards the now new fourth base of Classic. We do have storms. We have to hold on to them. We're going for the dive. Oh. Decent initial storm. We have two more left. One was good. The other did zone away the army. Yeah, but we stim on forward and we just overwhelmed. GG gets called and Clem will take the series at 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. GG, well played. Clem will take it again. A very, very aggressive build there from Clem, going for his initial tank Banshee push. And unfortunately, Classic did not spot the main army. He did not see the move out. He was trying to keep up with the Banshees, but he was caught off guard at the third base. And that was the beginning of the end. That was Clem breaking the third base, catching Classic with his pants down, and there was just no way for Classic to save the third. He committed to try to save it. Lost everything in the process, and from there Clem was able to take it. GG, well played. Whew. Went the distance here, went all the way to the ace match. Again, there is a world out there where maybe Classic is a little bit more patient in game 2 on site Delta, and maybe we get a different outcome. But again, I feel like Classic is known for his confidence, he's known for being aggressive. That is part of what makes Classic Classic, and Clem was able to take advantage of that in the end, and of course fight back on site Delta and bring it all the way back here in the ace match as well. GG, well played. With that, we have our finals. Oh boy. And I'm curious how this is going to go. Solar's been doing well for himself, but fun fact, for those who are looking at the bracket, Solar is waiting in the grand finals, and Solar has made it to the finals, bringing down nothing but Protoss. It's been nothing but Protoss players here for Solar, and I'm sure he would have preferred Classic. I mean, Solar, he knocked out Max Pax, he knocked out, let me just quickly double check, Max Pax, Creator, alongside Mana as well. Again, it's been nothing but Protoss players in the face of Solar, and he's brought them all down time and time again. Now he's up against Clem, and yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. I'm hoping for a back and forth. I'm hoping for a more dynamic matchup. I think I want to give the edge to Clem here. I think I would give him the edge, but I'm curious what the map vetoes are going to be, and I'm curious to see how Solar is going to be approaching Clem in this matchup. Let's go.